So, good morning. Can everybody hear me there in the back? Good. So, good morning. It's, dear colleagues, esteemed guests, it's my honor, privilege, and pleasure to welcome you into the European Perspective. My name is Alain Wille. I'm the head of the Strategic Business Unit Swine in Beringer. And so I'm going to give you a small introduction to the day, and it's about the resilience. So first a slide on the trends and challenge that we are facing as an industry. We see that the world population is expected to grow to 9.7 billion people in 2050. The demand for animal protein in that time will double, with 70% of this demand in the emerging markets. For pork, already until 2025, the demand will increase by 15%. When we look at the production, 20% of the economic losses are caused by disease. There is a continuous pressure on the use of antibiotics, and the scarcity of resources will demand precision livestock farming. Climate change will impact agriculture, and this is what you see. The map there is something I have lent from the FAO. And what you see there is in the color, the greener it looks, the better it is. The redder it looks, the worse it is. So we see mostly on the tropical band that there will be a negative impact, or is expected to have a negative impact on the trends of farming. There's an increasing importance of welfare, and we see also an increasing digitalization. This is a nice graph that Xavi was so kind to put together for me, or he lent it from somebody else, but actually it's a good one. So what you see in the vertical axis is the life expectancy, and then on the horizontal axis you see the income per person. So what you see is the bubbles representing countries, and the color of the countries are related to the continents that you see there. So you will see over time how this has evolved, and you see that life expectancy can go up and down, and you also can see some countries have an economic crisis while the GDP falls back. But in general, you will see an overall trend. So what you see is the income and the life expectancy. So this is the starting point. These are the continents. We start in 1800, and here we go. It's supposed to work, animated. You see there are setbacks, but there's a clear trend. This is why different governments are pushing back the age of retirement. It's a calculation model. We're only supposed to be 13 and a half years on retirement on average. So you contribute for 40 years, and 13 and a half years later, you stop receiving money. So here you go. So life expectancy is changing, but the next graph is also very interesting. Oh, here you go, after the Second World War. Then you really see the GDP increasing. Now, intensive farming is the engine of the standard of living that we currently have. Shortly after the Second World War, half of the family income was spent on buying food. Now it's only 20%. This allows us to have money to spend on traveling, on electronics, and so on. This is another graph. You see China and Europe compared in the population, which is the Gauss curve, the surface, and then you see how it evolves. The GDP evolves. And you see that Europe used to be rich and China poor, but then you see an evolution. And these are people who all love to eat pork. So this is the challenge. So if you see what will be required, you see that by 2050, the demand for pork will triple. And at the same time, we will see by 2030 already, we need 30% more food, which will require 40% more water and 50% more energy. And so this leads to an increased resource scarcity. And so what we will need is livestock, precision livestock farming. So this is the challenge. 2 billion people more, 70% more food production required. So increasing demand with scarce global resources. This is the challenge. And so production agriculture is being transformed to a precision process. So precision brings increased output with the same resources. Less waste, high quality production, increased sustainability, and economic resilience. Precision brings resilience. Now, what is resilience? I had to look it up just to make sure what it really meant. It is the ability to quickly restore economic stability in the presence of random and unforeseen shocks. The goal is to achieve long-term, low variance, higher than average profitability. So, the number one, disease is the greatest cause of profit decline and variation. So as you've seen earlier, I showed 20% of economic losses are caused by diseases. PRRS is a significant and often underestimated cause of loss. Prevention is the foundation of precision. A good prevention allows us to have a better precision. And so with this, I promised you a short introduction. And so it is good to have you all here, that we have opportunity to discuss, and we will have the workshop formats this afternoon. So we look forward to hear your opinions and to interact with you. And with this, with no further ado, I give the word to my colleague, Dr. Oliver Duran.